Joining me today is a little lady. That sounds weird when I say it that way. A woman that I have known for many years and who has been on the podcast once before when she helped guest host an episode a few years ago when my co-host partner was moving for a few weeks. Introduce yourself however you'd like.
Hi, I'm pretty sure I go by a different name in those uh episodes, but I go by the Pink Spooder now because I'm a VTuber now. Hi.
Yes, hi. So I had mentioned to the audience in a previous recording that I was going to be reaching out to you to do a recording to discuss some Game Jam stuff because you've done, is it two Game Jams or three
I've
or
done
more?
no, I've only done I mean technically speaking, I have done three, but I've only completed two.
Right. Okay. And as a video games based podcast, things like that are interesting to our listening audience. I guess in case somebody doesn't know, hello, welcome to the internet and video games for the first time. Can you explain in your own words what a game jam is, in case someone does happen to be uninitiated?
Actually, I've met a lot of people when I first started doing game jam stuff that apparently didn't know what a game jam was, my fiance being one of them. Um, but game jams are just you take people who want to make games and you're like, "Hey, do you struggle with procrastination? Well, here you go. Take that anxiety you get for last minute assignments and make a game in a very small period of time and have that crunch going." It's not necessarily that, but yeah, you just make a game within a set amount of time. It's usually no more than a month. The ones I did were significantly less than that.
Yeah. Yeah. I am most familiar, I think, with Let's Make a Game, which is a game jam, I don't know, group that does game jams, a couple like big ones, like big game jam events a couple times a year, and then smaller ones throughout. But there are bunches of organizations, I think, or groups that have popped up that do game jams now. Were the ones that you did affiliated with any particular group, or even just like, I don't know, Discord or some VTuber group that you're a part of or something?
Um, yes, and also no. The first one, my first ever one that I did was when I was still in college, and that was a 48-hour game jam. That's the one I did not complete. And a lot of that was because the programmer didn't finish. But I did that while also going to classes, so that was stressful.
Right.
Um, but it was fun. Then more recently, the one that I did was the Game Maker's Toolkit game jam. That was the first one I did. That one was only 4 days. And then the last one I did was a Girly Games game jam, which was 10 days.
Okay. And I know these two game jams as the one that you stabbed, what was it, vending machines, and then the other one where you use your VTuber avatar. That's how I separate those in my mind.
Well, you don't stab vending machines, you stab waiter robots.
Waiter robots, okay. Is there a vending machine? Like, isn't there a vending machine like at the very beginning?
No,
No. Where am I getting vending machine from then?
I don't know.
That's the one that I played
Maybe
too. I played that one,
I don't know, maybe you're just misremembering what the first enemy was
I guess.
incorrectly or something, because it is a tall rectangular-esque character, but it's one of those like cat robot waiters that you find in like Japan and stuff like that
Right.
because we wanted to make them cute.
Well, he is cute, but then they do damage to you
Mhm.
a lot.
Yeah, yeah. Because the whole thing of that is me and my friend Pirates, who's another VTuber, um, took her AI minion, and we were like, "Oh, let's just do a coffee run featuring your her little AI minion," because there's a whole joke within all of Pyrrha's streams that she's a major coffee addict. You can like redeem points to throw a coffee at her. Like it's a whole thing. So just like, yeah, so get me like 55 gallons of coffee, and that's the entire run is you're just looping and trying to get enough coffee, but you can only take like five cups at a time.
Is it possible to win? Because I'm not gonna lie, I played it for like 10 minutes and I was like, okay, I get it. This is a better game than I could make, but I'm done.
Oh yeah, no, you can win it. There is a win and lose condition. It's going to take a long time to get the win condition, but yeah, you can
Has
in fact beat the game.
has anyone beat the game?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
Pyrrha technically has, but I'm pretty sure she also cheated to get that just to make sure the ending actually worked. So
Okay. I was gonna say you should do that as a stream. You should beat it as a stream, but that sounds kind of miserable.
it would be a boring stream because right now there's not really anything other than you start from the left side, you walk to the right side, and you stab everything in your way, and that's pretty much it. We wanted to do more. We were gonna have um, one more enemy character other than like those little chibi placeholder characters.
Hmm.
We were gonna have like this really small, like calf sized robots that like deliver food or something, or like have packages inside of them. And we're gonna make a joke like there was a cannon on top of it and it would shoot tea bags.
Okay. Sure. Uh, because it would it be tea bags because they're somehow the antithesis of coffee, or just because?
Yeah, no, because they're the antithesis of coffee.
Okay.
Scuff actually has a bot that you can interact with within Pyrrha's chats, and she notoriously despises tea.
That makes sense especially as an inside joke within the community. I think though that like kind of gets to the heart of game jams, because I think game jams, like, they're a very tight knit community from my experience, or like little tight knit communities. Um, I think
Kind
you
of. Um, if you go to like itch.io, that's like the perfect place to find game jams. They have schedules for everything for up to like a month ahead of time.
Mhm.
Um, of game jams and stuff. And initially, we were wanting to do one in October, and because I had found one that was like a month long October Halloween thing, and we were going to try to make a spooky game. But Pyrrha runs a charity thing on the month of November and needs the month of October to prepare, so it didn't end up happening.
Right. That makes sense. Tell me, what's the experience like as someone? What was your experience like doing a game jam? And I guess what was your job? Like, I know, but to explain to the listeners, like, what was your job?
I was the artist. I made all of the unique or like personal art that wasn't placeholder stuff for both of the game jams, for these last two game jams. I guess technically the first one. I made 3D models for the first one. But you can't play that one, like I said, because it never got finished. But yeah, for these last two, I did all of the 2D artwork, and during the one for Scuff's Coffee Run is when I learned how to animate within Cliff Studio Paint. So I used that entire 4 days to learn a new skill.
Nice. Do you still remember how to do that skill?
Yeah, I did that in the Girly Games Jam one too, where it was featuring me.
Okay.
So
Uh,
I reused it. I'm gonna try to use it again to make like little assets for myself and stuff for my streams, and maybe if I could figure out, because there's still parts of it that elude me, but if I could figure out certain parts of it, maybe potentially do bigger projects. It's yet to be seen.
right. That's actually one of my questions about doing more projects, but we'll get to that. What is the experience like to do a game jam, right? Like, I mean, you've mentioned before, like, because of how, at least the ones that you have participated in have been like really short, so there's a lot of like work. You really like focus. There's like some stress there, but what else is it like? Is there like an experience of like vigor, or the fact that you're like, oh, I'm learning something new, like a new skill is doing this? Like, does that bring you like a huge sense of satisfaction, or what? Like, how does that make you feel to lean into my profession?
I was about to be like, am I being therapized? No.
Not
It's
right now. Maybe later.
no, it's a lot of fun. Definitely really stressful. I streamed the entirety of me working on both game jams when I was doing it, and any games I do in the future, I'll be streaming those too. Um, it was very stressful. I remember when Pyrrha and I did the first one, we sat down and we had a bit of I think we had a little bit of a late start to it. Because neither of us got off work until after it had already been going for a few hours. And so we were just like sitting there fleshing out our ideas. And then we started working, and like Pyrrha was learning how to use Godot, I think is the name of the program, for the first time, which is like a has been becoming very popular within indie game development because it's very straightforward and can do about everything. And it's free, so you know. But yeah, she was learning how to use Godot, and we did the coffee run because it was using a lot of the stuff that she was learning through tutorials already and all that. Um, so we were both taking that time to learn a new skill. And on that first day, whenever that was ending, we were like, are we going to be able to get anything done? And then we both surprised ourselves with just how much we got done. It was,
That Oh,
yeah, it
go
was,
ahead. Sorry.
yeah, no, you're good. It was a lot of fun. Like I said, very stressful. And I think I'm addicted to game jams. I want to do another one.
Okay. Well, and I mean that's like now perfectly slides into that question of do you intend to do more game jams, and if so, which kind, what type? Like because there are like really like 24-hour, 48-hour, whatever, like condensed ones, but there's also longer game jams like month-long jams. Um, I guess beyond that you're getting into like quote unquote professional game development, but do you like what's your intention with doing more in the future?
I don't know specifically which game jam I'm going to do, but I know that one of Pyrrha's friends, Pinky, is wanting to join us for the next game jam that we do. And she's been really wanting to learn visual novel stuff. So what we'll probably end up doing next is a visual novel, depending on the game jam that we do. But yeah, that's what we're probably going to do next. Um, I've been like looking up the game jam stuff every few days to see what's updated since time's passed and all that. To be like, is there another one that we may or may want to do? Could I convince them to do this one with me? Because I don't want to learn the program.
Yeah, I mean, y'all are putting together or have got like a little team. It sounds like two of you for sure, and a third person coming in. Like, I guess as someone who's never done a game jam, but has seen a whole bunch of them, like, do you intend or hope, maybe not intend, but hope to get to a certain like team size of like, yeah, this is my group of people, and then we do game jams. Like, what does that look like for
I
you guys?
I would like at least one more person to join, and that one person specifically to be doing audio and sound effects, because right now we don't have anybody that specializes in that. We've just been using free assets for like free music and stuff for both of the games and stuff. Um, Maybe one more person to do the UIs, because that would ease some of the art stuff off of me, but I don't mind doing all of that necessarily. But the music is the big one that I would like to find somebody for one day, maybe.
Some of this might probably has to do with the types of games that you're doing, but you mentioned visual novel a minute ago. You've got programming, art stuff, sound engineering, UI design, but you haven't listed like a storyteller or a writer. Who handles that stuff if there's any writing that needs to be taken care of in these game jams?
It's kind of a group effort. A writer is also one that I wouldn't mind if we're going to do things for a big story. For both of the game jams that we've done, we haven't really needed a whole lot of writing. Pyrrha did the writing for the dialogue for her thing, and then I did mine for the tutorial for the one featuring me. So it's been trading off. But all of us kind of just have been doing the writing.
The reason that I ask, like, number one, I'm not trying to pitch myself for this, right? I have so many things going on. Maybe someday it would be fun, but in my life, I have got a huge swirl of things going on. But yeah, writing is the only thing that I think that I could do as part of a game jam, because I don't know how to program. I mean, some very basic stuff from computer science courses. I don't know how to do graphics design or UI design. I maybe in a pinch could do some audio work, because I've done a whole bunch of audio, like very basic audio work for a podcast. And with some of the stuff that we do, I'm leaning more into that for, the wall for our tabletop stuff. But even that is like super basic. So I'm like, what could I do if I was going to do a game jam? And like writing is the only thing that I have a shitload of experience in that I feel like that I could do.
Well, next time I do a game jam, I will pitch to you and be like, do you want to help us with that? And if you feel you have the time, I'll talk to my friends and be like, I got someone who might be able to help us with the writing, and they'll probably say yes. Uh,
Cool.
so,
Genuinely, that sounds like a lot of fun, but that also sounds really scary after you say it. But not because like I'm scared to put myself out there, but because of like thinking about all the things that I do in my life, which everyone on that listens to the show is familiar with just as well as you are. So, I don't need to list all the things, but
I mean, I'm sure you remember me canceling tabletop games because I was just like, I'm in the middle of jam and I need
yeah,
all the time I can get.
yeah.
So.
Which, given when you were doing that, that really helped me with all of my writing and stuff for our current tabletop experience that we're endeavoring on.
Yeah,
Um,
and like the nice thing about it too is it's a thing that you could just sit down to do during the free time. I would doodle character design stuff in my sketchbook while I was babysitting, when the kid was like asleep or something. And so it gave me something to do there. So I always figured out how to stay active for it. Um, Even if I couldn't like physically put anything into it yet, I could still make some level of progress.
yeah. Maybe that's something that we could do for another like little episode of like, oh, need to do some filler. Bring on some of the folks who we play tabletop games with, and not just to like talk shit about tabletop games, but to a whole bunch of us have got experience with writing, with DMing, with I mean, some of them in our group, developing an entire tabletop RPG system. So
Yeah, I mean that would be fun.
yeah. As sort of the last like question that I have about game jams specifically, and then if you want to freestyle about anything you can, so maybe thinking about that. But the last question that I have is like, you're doing all of these game jams, you're having fun with them, you're growing new skills, you're building sort of your little team, your community of folks. Do you think that you are going to take this into developing a full, quote unquote, full fat video game at some point?
Oh, absolutely. Like the reason why me and Pira first started doing the game jams is we were struggling to sit down and actually get a project done for a bigger game that we were wanting to make, but we don't have the skills for said games. So we were like, we gotta learn the skills. Let's figure something out here. And I was like, oh hey, game jam. I'm gonna do this thing real quick, and I'm gonna force myself how to. At that point, I was fully intending to force myself how to code, though that would have been a big mistake considering it was the 4 day game jam where I was gonna try to teach myself that. Um, but for my own projects of games I want to make, plus one that we had all done or we had discussed before regarding me and a bunch of other VTuber friends to make it about us, kind of. Um, we set in to learn those skills and used that as the reasoning to be like, oh hey, now we have this under our belt and we know how to do it, so we can put this knowledge to the big project.
Right. Do you wanna tease what the big project is, or do you want to keep that a secret?
I think I'll keep it a secret for now because right now it's still in like the beginning development to where we have barely anything written. It's still just a concept.
Sure. Well, I will go ahead and put my ring in the hat to be at least a play tester. I know that y'all are going to need that no matter what type of game it is that you're intending to work on. Play testing, bug catching, all of those things, and then be happy to feature it on the show and bring you guys on the show to talk about it.
Absolutely. And once we actually have like at least a beta, like the first main core gameplay mechanics and stuff finished, then I'm fine with talking about it. Because at that point, it's on its way to actually being made.
Right. And also, is this a project that you're wanting to actually try to sell, or because I've seen a lot of indie game devs, their first, full fat game, they give away to help, like, quote unquote, with get exposure. I know you can't eat exposure, right? But that's a practice that's been pretty common throughout the industry. Do you guys think you're going to do that, or would you sell it?
I've been going back and forth with that one. I would like to sell it on Steam, but for like really cheap. Like I don't think it would exceed $10 for what we have in mind. There's gonna be like a kind of a lot to it, but also not really. Like it's a simple game. A lot of stuff is within the writing because I will say this much. It's featuring each individual, like a handful of different VTubers within a friend group that I'm in. And so we're putting in writing for each of the characters or people, I guess.
Okay. Well, best of luck on y'all's adventure with that, no matter how long it takes. Um, when it comes to fruition, we'll have you on, and maybe the rest of your team too, depending on whether or not they want to or feel comfortable doing that, and we'll talk about it. I'm always happy to, you know, to simp for my friends, or would it be stand for my friends? Help me out. You're younger.
I
What's
think
the
it'd
right
be
word?
I think it would be Stan.
Okay,
Simp would be more like an attraction.
right. Okay. Well, for some of my friends,
Yeah.
you know who
It
you are out there when you're listening to this. Wink.
Yeah, for some of our friends, yes, you would be simping, but I think in this context, it would be more standing.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I think I've got 10 years on you. You're in your mid-20s, right?
Late. I'm 27.
Okay. So I'm not quite got 10 years on you, but I'm older than you. So, I had as an aside about being old, I have a client who is a teenager, and they were really getting on to me the other day for how much I enunciate words, and I had never heard it before until they called me out, and then I started sort of listening to the way that I speak, and I do enunciate quite a bit. I don't care. I'm not changing how I speak, but young people, you guys are weird. I don't understand you.
I don't really get that either. Because like I guess I've noticed that you enunciate, but I never thought much about it. You speak clearly, and for like who you are and what your profession is and all that, that it makes sense that you would want to speak clearly.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. I feel seen. I feel validated.
I'm glad that I could validate you
So
in
good to
your
me.
in
You're
your
so good.
speech habits.
Right, my speechery. So, do you have anything like freeform? Anything that like you want to discuss or bring up, related to Game Jam or related to anything else with like the gaming that you do or streaming? I'll give you a chance to plug your stuff right at the very end. So, not that just yet, but anything that you're like, well, I've got one person who's listening to me and his audience. Like anything you want to say?
I've been doing like a lot of different games. I've been sitting down trying to figure out what kind of games would work best for my streams. I'm still haven't figured that out. Uh, it's a heavy trial and error to see what people actually like watching. Um, but I do like a good mix between playing games and doing art. I'm trying to do more art streams. but it really depends on my wrist for the day. But I definitely want to do more game jams, and whenever I do end up doing more game jam stream, do end up doing another game jam, I will in fact be streaming that over on my Twitch.
Right. Okay. Um, and where is that? Plug all the things.
Yeah, you could find my Twitch over at twitch.tv/pink Spooder, spelled with 2 zeros instead of O's. Um, and then also on YouTube with Pink Spooder, but that is just 2 lowercase O's. Because for whatever reason, Pink Spooder was taken on Twitch by an account that hasn't actually been active in like a really long time.
Assholes.
Right? I was so annoyed. I'm pretty sure even when I made my account and like picked my username, that it still wasn't active even then, and I've used this username for years.
Yeah. So I will, of course, put links to those things in the description for the show. And anything else afterwards that you're like, oh, by the way, Jared, put a link to this. Let me know. That way people can listen to your words, but also click on the links if they want to see you, hear you, find out more about you, check out your cool VTuber avatar. I hate spiders. Everyone that listens to this knows that I hate spiders, and your VTuber avatar is a spider, but she is cute and she has big boobs. And so those two things help me get past my arachnophobia.
I'm glad her being cute and having big boobs helps you with your.
Listen, I'm a simple man, okay? I am many things, but one of them is a simple man. So
is that the thing that helps with my D&D character?
that yes, that also helps. Those two things help.
I'm glad that I could appeal both designs to you, Jared.
Thank you. Yes, just for, it only appeals to me. It was for no one else. I'm gonna headcanon that, and it's gonna make me feel better. Yeah, awesome. Thank you so much for stopping by, for taking some time out of your day. And I look forward to getting to have you back on to talk about more stuff. I think I am gonna put together that tabletop thing at some point in the relatively near future, and then I'd love to have you and your team on at some point, indeterminate point in the future, to talk about the game, the full fat game that you're making. That'll be cool.
Yeah, absolutely. And I apologize both to you and also your listeners for the word vomit and me stumbling over words at times.
Nah, you're good. You volunteered to do this out of the goodness of your heart with zero pressure. So the fact that you said words at all is good enough for this show.
Look,
we don't have high standards.
I'm trying to make it into look, I stream. I'm attempting to make it into something for a living, so I would hope that I can somewhat ad-lib.
Right.
The skill I'm still working on, but we're getting there.
You're working on it. You're getting there. I have a leg up for what I do for a living. I'm usually pretty good on my feet.
I'll get there.
Right. You will.
I just gotta get past being awkward.
But you're not awkward, sweetie. Don't say that. You're not awkward.
Well, thank you. I'm glad you don't think I'm awkward.
Yeah. You might feel it, but I don't think you come across as awkward.
Well, thank you. That makes me feel a little better.
You're welcome.